Third point is that relativism is not neutral. And I share this point because many times people who hold relativistic positions, they think they're the humble ones. That the Christians are the arrogant ones. They think they know what's right for everybody else. They're telling other people what to do. And we're the humble position. We're neutral. We're kind of, everyone can believe whatever they want to believe. We are the moral Switzerland. That's how they position themselves. But they are not. We need to see that relativism itself, here's the key, relativism is a point of view. It's not just neutrally sitting back and going, oh, we'll just let everyone come to the table and everyone gets to decide for themselves. That's not what's going on here. Relativism is a point of view. It is a certain way of looking at the world. It is a certain worldview. And it's a worldview that they're imposing upon us. This is something Pope Benedict said many times. He talked about, as Cardinal Ratzinger, he talked about how relativism is becoming the new dogmatism. It's the new dogmatism. And anyone that holds any kind of religious or moral conviction, they have to set aside those convictions about truth and subordinate themselves to the super dogma of relativism. Relativism is a new religion, he says, and it's making everyone else play by their rules. And Pope Benedict went on to say, I think it's vital that we oppose this imposition. I think it's vital that we oppose this imposition. I'm going to share with you a story, true story here. Young person, grew up in a good Catholic family, went to youth group, goes off to a big state college, gets involved at the Newman Center, practicing her faith. Then one day in a political science class, professor asked a simple question, a survey to all the students about their political beliefs related to their religious and moral beliefs. And after class, she's walking out and her classmate comes up and says, hey, what'd you put for that question about gay marriage? And she said, oh, I said I was against it. And he kind of laughed and said, oh, well, I said I was for it. Oh, well, to each his own. See you at the party tonight. Kind of went on, and everything seemed to be still peaceful between the two that disagreed until she showed up at that party. And when she walked in the party, he saw her come in. He literally got up on a chair and stood up and said, hey, everyone, guess what she said in class today about gay marriage? She said she is against it. Can you believe that? She said she's against gay marriage. And all of a sudden, everyone starts going after, oh, really? How could you say that? Well, who are you to decide what marriage is for everybody else? And why are you being so judgmental? Shouldn't you be tolerant? Granted, this might not be what you want to do, but why do you have to impose your way of life on us? And they just kept pounding on her. And she would try to give explanations for her belief. And the more she tried to explain, the more she felt like she was digging herself in a hole. And she just really felt beat up. And finally, she just said, I got to leave. But when she walked out the door that day, she walked out changed. Not radically changed, but in a very deep, profound way that was very subtle. She told herself, it's too hard to stand up for my beliefs. It comes at too much of a price. And you can understand, right? I mean, we want to fit in. We want to be accepted, right? I mean, you get that, but it was too hard for her to stand up. So she started to just make a little subtle move that many young people make. A little subtle move. I call it becoming a relativist in your heart. She still kind of held on to her traditional beliefs about pro-life, pro-marriage, all that. But she would just, when these topics would come up in conversation, she would just add two little words. Two little simple words. She'd say, oh, I think abortion is wrong for me. But if other people want to have abortion, I guess that's their choice. I think marriage is between a man and a woman for me. But if other people want to think otherwise, that's fine for them. Just two little simple words. But it was changing her. It was changing her. Once we make that move, it becomes a slippery slope. I've had many young adults, they've told me this. I've shared this story, and they come up and they go, that happened to me. Or maybe not the exact same thing, maybe not with the same intensity, but that fear of ever talking about what's right or wrong. They say, yeah, you make that move for me in your heart, and then a couple of years later, you wake up and you realize you're not the same person you used to be. That's what started happening to this young gal. You see, because once we no longer believe in a real truth, and it's just for me, well then, abortion, euthanasia, care for the poor, marriage, all these things, they become like my favorite taste of ice cream. Chocolate is the best for me. Or my taste of music, country is the best for me. Or my favorite sports team, the Broncos are the best for me. And so we put these very important moral truths on the level of just personal opinion. And once you do that, that's not just a problem intellectually and just a problem for political policy and conversations in classrooms. It becomes a big problem in the drama of my own moral life. Because what started happening to this gal is later, toward the end of her freshman year in the second semester, she started making compromises in her own moral life. Because when there's no longer a real moral compass guiding me, there is no truth outside of me, it's just all for me. Well, just as my music taste can change and my favorite ice cream flavor can change, I guess my moral living can change too. And she started finding herself doing things she had never done before. I used to think X was wrong, but maybe I'll just try X, just once. Now just twice, now a third time. By the end of her freshman year, this formerly very devout Catholic was no longer even practicing her Catholic faith, and she became a self-avowed relativist. This is what's happening over and over again. This weed is devastating. Now, how do we respond? How to respond? What do you do the next time you find yourself in a situation like this young gal did, perhaps, where someone starts saying to you, you're at Thanksgiving dinner and you got that relative, Aunt Sally shows up. Wow, there's my Catholic sister here. And, oh yeah, well, you shouldn't be so intolerant. Why are you guys so judgmental? How do you respond? Do you ever feel paralyzed when that question comes up? Because you either respond with anger and more volume. If I just get more volume, maybe I'll convince them. That never works. And then a lot of us just go silent mode because we're just afraid. That's not evangelization either. What do? Here's a simple one-liner, a little practical thing I want to give you. Ready? Next time your friend says, hey, don't be so intolerant, just come right back and say, excuse me, are you judging me? I'm feeling a little judged right now. Try that. They're not used to a Christian using the don't judge me card. But picture that conversation. Are you judging me? No, I'm not judging you. I go, well, you just said I was a mean, intolerant person. I'm feeling judged. Well, you were trying to say that, abortion's wrong for everyone, or marriage is between a man and woman for everyone, and who are you to decide that? Well, hold on a second, my friend. Hold on. We're friends, and it sounds like you believe in relativism, and that's fine. If I disagree with that. It doesn't make sense to me, but I still respect you as a person. But if you want to have faith in relativism, if you want to have faith that there's no moral truth in the universe, if you want to have this faith that everyone makes up their own morality, I'll disagree, but I can respect you. But the one thing I ask you is, please do not impose your faith in relativism on me. That's what we need to do, because relativism is not neutral. It's a certain way of looking at the world. And until you convince me that that's the right way to look at the world, quit calling me judgmental and intolerant. We got to go back to the more fundamental question. Is there truth? And if you can get the conversation there, we're going to win. But what happens in so many of these conversations, they end up being so hot and personal and emotional, right? And we got to get off of that. And let's just start asking, do you really think there's no truth? Is genocide okay? Is kidnapping okay? Do you really want to say that? And now we're having a substantial conversation that's not emotionally charged. We're talking about truth now. And I think this one little one-liner is helpful just to get away from that, push back a little bit, because what they're trying to do is impose their view that there's no truth on us and make us play by their rules. Let's change the conversation. Amen?